but it was a year of like, dude, I'm sick of working nonstop. I want to go have fun. I went to Greece. I went to 3 bachelor parties. I went to a bunch of weddings and was just like, I want to smile and laugh and be a successful 30-year-old who's busted his butt, and I want to enjoy it, and I'll figure it out later. This year I'm going full awesome.
Cody, welcome to the show. What do you do for a living and how old are you?
Yes, sir. I am 33 years old. I am a civil engineer living out in Long Beach, California.
Awesome. And how much you make a year as a civil engineer right now?
As of right now, just salary, I'm at 125.
Awesome. And is there any additional compensation on top of that?
Absolutely. I get vehicle reimbursement, a gas card, and a phone reimbursement, which brings my gross up to about 135 a year.
So making good money out there, but California is not a cheap place to live either. So
No, sir, and that's with a master's degree in civil engineering, so I definitely have worked for it.
and so how long have you been doing it for?
I've been doing it for 7 years.
And what was your starting salary when you first left grad school?
I was 65, and that was in Chicago. You have to switch jobs every 2 years in order to get the pay you require. During COVID, I got 0.5%.
So how'd you define 33 making about $35,000 a year? Then how'd you kind of rate your current financial situation on a scale of 1 to 10?
Right now, I'm sitting at a pretty solid 6. But I'm set up that within the next 5 years, I should be rocking a 10.
Okay. And why do you kind of put yourself at a 6 right now?
Right now, I've made some really solid long-term investments. Because of that, my loose change in my pocket is a little tight, which definitely restricts a lot of my happiness and wanting to enjoy my lucrative income. But a lot of those bills should be knocked out here shortly, and then Easy Street will be very, very paved with a whole lot of Cody.
Let's kind of dive into then the different debts and assets then. Where do you want to start, debts or assets?
Debts are always the painful one. We'll start with debts.
Okay, so let's go through debts then. What different debts do we have and how much are each of them?
We got lots of debts. The biggest debt that I have right now are student loans. My student loan debts, after 7 years of paying, I'm sitting at a real easy $110,000 remaining in student loan debt.
Oh, wow. I see that. Okay, so grad school is about just under $36,000 and the undergrad is just over $74,000. And while payments were paused during COVID, did you make payments on them at all, or they kind of sat there for 3 years?
They sat there for a little bit, but I did that on purpose to make a smart financial decision. And that was to save that money and then use it as a down payment for a condo.
Okay, so you saved money instead of paying, I guess your student loan minimum payments looks like $1,100 a month. So you save that money to use it for a down payment on your current condo.
Correct.
So we got 110 in student loans. What other debts do we have right now?
So I'm sitting at, I believe, about $13,000 worth of credit card debt as well, which hurts. And then my very lovely pickup truck is definitely burning a hole in my happiness.
Okay, so we're going to touch on the credit cards in a second. But the pickup truck, $34,000. What kind of truck you got for a $34,000 loan?
So for a $34,000 loan, I have a 2019 4x4 Ram Rebel Series 1500 pickup truck, which I do love this truck, but unfortunately it was a requirement at my last job that I had to get a white pickup truck that was less than 5 years old.
They required you to go and get a car loan, basically?
So it was according to it was in my contract. They gave me, I mean, this is a money podcast, so we'll get into it. So they said it has to be less than 5 years old. So for example, it's a 2019. So this year I would have had to sell it and then buy a new or something like that. It could not go over 5 years. It had to be white. It had to be a 4x4, and used vehicles right now are ridiculously expensive. But with that being said, they had an incentive, which was they would give me about $1,400 a month gross for a vehicle allowance, which actually ended up screwing me over pretty hard because net wise, that came out to be about $800 a month, which you're like, oh, that's great, whatever. Well, on my year-end taxes, it made it look like I was making $145,000. and my student loans popped up another $300. So by forcing myself to get a truck, I was losing money via truck, losing money via student loans, and net in my pocket was even less. So I ended up having to switch to a company that paid me less money but didn't have that requirement.
Okay, so car payment, it looks like 620, and then car insurance is 241, so it wasn't even being covered by the after $800 in net income basically from the vehicle allowance.
Yep.
And I'm assuming they required that those parameters for you to qualify for the vehicle incentive program. So if you didn't have that truck, you just wouldn't have gotten paid that, correct?
Correct. I wouldn't have gotten paid that. I wouldn't have gotten the gas card. But it was in my contract when I signed my offer letter that
What would have happened if you had just kept whatever car you had? Would you just opt to forego the gas card and the vehicle incentive program?
No, so it was construction. Pickup trucks are definitely a requirement for the job. I probably they would have found a reason to probably terminate me. It was a suggestion. It was not a requirement, but it was a strong suggestion.
Okay, that is not fun if an employer is trying to hardball you into going to debt. Obviously, they want you to have a good-looking car when you're going to job sites or whatever, but when it's putting you in a situation that kind of just hurts your finances and puts you in a situation where now you've left the company, you're still stuck with this car loan, it kind of screws you there. So
correct. And now I'm massively over on it.
it looks like you said it's about worth $28,000 right now, so you're upside down on it right now. So yeah, that definitely hurts.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so then back to the credit cards. Why do we have $14,000 worth of credit card debt when we're making $135,000 a year?
So $135,000 a year comes to a lot of, I have my standard, base pays going on and whatnot. And honestly, I had worked really hard for a really long time, and I had a year of, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but it was a year of like, dude, I'm sick of working nonstop. I want to go have fun. I went to Greece. I went to 3 bachelor parties. I went to a bunch of weddings and was just like, I want to smile and laugh and be a successful 30-year-old who's busted his butt, and I want to enjoy it, and I'll figure it out later. Like, it's a horrible financial plan, but it's completely honest. It was just like 10 years of busting my butt and just was like, nope, this year I'm going full awesome.
Why, I commend you for owning it, that it's a horrible financial decision.
Horrible.
I would like to figure out ways, because you're making enough money, how can you enjoy life and set yourself up for success to do that, but not put it on a credit card when you got $14,000 of credit card debt? I'm assuming you have a introductory period because you put 0% interest on the loan right now?
Yeah, so I have a 0% interest that goes until September. So right now I have it set up where I'm dropping $1,200 a month into that credit card, which still gives me about $300 a month of like play and wiggle. And then with that 11, so that's 7, that'll drop it down that by that time I'll be at about like 3,000. So I'll have it paid off by the end of the year, definitely before my taxes kick in next year. Then that should be a nice little bonus for pay and happiness.
Okay, so playing a dangerous game then with a 0% interest rate credit card, because if something happens, your condo pipe bursts or something, and you got to go fix it, it's going to be pushing that back. But I'm proud of you starting to make progress on it, throwing $1,200 a month at it when your minimum payment's about $300. So you're at least taking steps. But you're now eating the repercussions of, hey, let's go party in Greece, which sounds like a ball. But
great time. Highly recommend it.
No, I do not recommend it on the credit cards. I recommend doing it when you save up for it, but we can't change the past now. So we got to figure out how do we change the future and adjust the future moving forward. So, okay. Well, $14,000 in bachelor parties, Greece, traveling. Sounds like a ball. Now you got to pay for it, and it's definitely tighten your budget. Because if you had $1,200 a month right now just to go play and have fun, I mean, you could be traveling the world, $14,000, I guess, a year with that same amount of money. So it's kind of foregoing current travel now. So
thanks, Bailey. It's honest.
I'm just being honest and figure out, okay, you make a lot of money. Let's figure out how can you get that to work for you versus right now you got to play catch up because of these decisions. Obviously can't change it, but hey, once you get out of this, great. Now we can start allocating that money towards travel what you want to do once you get it paid off this year.
Well, that's my problem is that I wouldn't allocate it towards travel. I'd allocate it towards my student loans. I'd allocate it towards my truck. And those are big, scary numbers that are going to take me a few more years to knock out. So I was like, I'll be young and dumb for a minute.
I guess that's true. With all the debt, it'd be hard to justify, hey, let's throw 1,000 of this towards travel, it'd probably be, hey, let's throw 800 of this towards loans and then 200 of it towards funds. So
Yeah.
I can definitely see when you have this much debt, it's a hard mountain to climb, and you want to enjoy some money, but also set you back. So, okay. And then the last debt we have, it looks about $264,000 and some change left on your mortgage-free condo.
Yes, sir. Nice 30-year mortgage sitting at a 3%.
Nice. So when did you move in there?
November 2020. Snuck right in. Oh, yeah.
Snuck in a good time then. Okay.
Absolutely.
Good, nice, low interest rate mortgage. It looks like your total monthly payment is $1,988 for that. Does that include the HOA fees as well? Or is that
Correct.
Okay. So $1,988 there, which for your income is not bad. I mean, it's under 20% of your gross annual income. In terms of net income, it's a little bit higher, about 30%. So good threshold there. But yeah, I can definitely see these other debt payments are consuming you. So off the bat, put yourself at a 6. I'm not going to be putting you at a 6 right now when we got all these student loan debts and car loans and credit cards. When we're traveling the world on a credit card, I don't think I'd be putting you at a 6, but you got a great income. So on that, we'll talk about the assets because that's where the fun is, and you've done a good job here. So I got the condo, looks like about 402 right now. So you've got about $140,000 worth of equity there. What was your down payment on the condo?
It was $15,000.
Okay, so put $15,000 down, and that's worked out for you there with housing prices soaring in the last couple of years. Current value of the car, $28,600. So upside down about $6,000 on the truck. Retirement accounts, we got $57,569. Is that all 401ks, Roth IRAs? What does that breakdown look like?
So there is about 13,000 of that is Roth IRAs, and the rest is 401ks.
And does your current employer offer a match?
Yeah, actually, they have an amazing system. So if you put in 3%, they'll match 6%.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great program.
And are you contributing to that right now?
Yes, I am at 3% right now, trying to knock these other bills down. But that's a free 6%. That's a great deal.
If they weren't matching, I would say let's forego that. But if you put 3 and you get 6 back, I mean, that's great. Okay. And then in your savings, how much do we have in the bank account right now?
Bank account, I got $3K.
$3K. Okay. So when you were traveling, I got to ask, when you're traveling to Greece, all these bachelor parties, did you have any money in your bank account when you quit your job, or was it all credit cards when you quit?
So I did all of these, like these were all paid vacation. Like I was working.
Okay.
These were just paid. Yeah, I was definitely still getting paid. I've always made sure to have at least $3,000 in my bank account at all times, to make sure that my monthly bill payments are consistently being hit and made. But yes, there was some cash flow there, but a significant amount of it was credit card.
Okay. I thought, because I saw you said you had quit your engineer job before to become a bartender. So I didn't know if that traveling was during that time period, but the travel was while you're still being an engineer and making money.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, let's get a note. And what year did you travel and rack up the credit card debt?
Oh, that was last year, 2023.
Okay, 2023. So the fun ended.
The fun ended in February. It was about a month ago.
About a month ago. Okay. So I don't know what bank statements I have. I don't know if we have the fun bank statements or we've got the fun bank statements. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to have to get into the fun bank statements here in a second. I'm kind of scared to get into those, but
oh yeah.
Total assets, we got $491,469. Total debts, $422,644, which brings your net worth to $68,825. Does that sound about right?
Sounds great.
And have you ever calculated net worth before? Have you tracked it before?
No, because my student loans depress me. So no.
What has your attitude been towards money, I guess, the last 7 years in terms of, besides, hey, let's go spend money, travel, but looking at debt or investing?
The attitude the last several years have been survival mode. It's been very much like, for example, I knew I wanted to buy a condo because a $300,000 condo in LA is not going to last long at all. So it was, okay, I know this is smart and everything else is going to be super tight for the rest of the time. Same thing with my investments. I know that an HSA is a smart thing to do. It's good to do, but maxing it out is hard. I'd love to max out my Roth IRA, but that means the difference between me eating ramen and me eating, actual like Kraft macaroni and cheese this week. So it's like a different set. So as of with this new job, I've actually started being able to attack a lot more of this debt. But I would be to be very honest, COVID definitely saved me by pausing the student loans to help me get through a lot of this and get to a place where I'm no longer just in survival and just paying the bare minimum and just can actually start attacking this larger debt.
I'm glad it sounds like you have an attitude. Hey, I want to attack this debt, want to pay it off. I will counter that you said COVID saved you from survival mode, but we were putting vacations on a credit card, $14,000 worth of it. So it also enabled you to do that versus paying your student loans down too at the same time.
Correct. But that's also, I mean, I graduated with my master's in 2016. So that's 6, 7 years of keeping my head down and being in survival mode. And then after 7 years going, this, I want to be happy for a minute. So I understand that it wasn't a very smart move, but my mental health says it was the best move ever. Yeah. I mean, it was long term. Will I regret it? Probably. 20 years from now, will I regret it? No, not even a little.
That's an attitude to have.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. Got to take care of yourself mentally, especially. I think there's some other ways to do it besides that, but we'll agree to disagree on that. But I guess my main question, one question I do have is student loans. We got $110,000 worth of balances between the two right now. What was the total amount taken out for school?
The total amount was over 200,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've made some progress on it, which is good. I mean, your interest rates are 4 to 5%, it looks like, for the most part, which is good. So $110,000 balance, you paid over $90,000 off, which is phenomenal. So kudos to you for doing that and at least making headway and progress on that. I know it's a long journey, but you're about halfway there, which is exciting. So
very exciting.
Okay. So first off the bat, you put yourself at a 6. I'm not going to put you at a 6 because of we got a lot of debt right now. The credit cards, I don't like playing the 0% APR game that we have right now. You're fortunate you're in that situation. It's not a 30% right now. But we got $158,000 worth of debt the mortgage I'm not worried about at all right now. Because it's 3% because you have $140,000 with equity. So worst case comes to worst in your life is you could sell the condo and clean up every single debt. Would I suggest that right now? Probably not, because you're not going to get a condo or you're going to go rent somewhere for $3,000 that's equivalent. And I'm not concerned about the monthly payment towards your income at all right now. So I think that's a great thing to have. Stick to it. But we got to figure out how do we get margin in your budget to make some progress on it, because I mean, $158,000 in consumer debt, we'll call it, definitely kind of scares me for you because you're 33 and I don't know what your plans are for a family. I don't know what your plans are for buying a house instead of a condo one day, or wanting to get married and have a wedding or kids, whatever that looks like. It's like being 33, you obviously still have time on your side, which is phenomenal. But I want to figure out on this call is like, how do we figure out a plan, which already sounds like you're doing it, or at least making progress on some of the credit cards. But how do you figure out a plan so that you can get out of this the next 2 to 3 years, most of this debt, and then from there, hey, we're going to start investing and saving money, and you have the income and you have the ability to become a multimillionaire before you retire. It's like, okay, how do we get to that point from here? But it's going to take some sacrifice. It's going to take some planning, but also along the way, you got to figure out how do you enjoy life too, and set up the little things where, okay, you can set up some money aside towards eating out or travel or to fun things, entertainment, but not going crazy where it kind of sets you years back. So one of the things I want to just talk about on this call. So what are your, I guess, future career goals?
Get to project management level, keep climbing the ladder and make more money.
Okay. And what is your goal, like income look like over the next 5 years, we'll call it?
5 years from now, I should be making about 180.
Okay.
If not 2.
I think the main thing through that is we have to be very careful over the next 5 years is how do you make sure lifestyle creep doesn't get to you, because you went from making $65,000 to $125,000 to $135,000 right now, and we still have the same amount of money in your bank account, $2,000, which obviously you've done a good job. It sounds like putting away some money in retirement over the last few years as well. And you've been making a lot of progress in the student loans, but we got to figure out how do we kind of continue to make sure lifestyle creep doesn't get to you. One vacation that's $5,000 or $3,000 to Greece can kind of destroy a lot of progress on things. So, but I think that's a great goal to have and continue to work towards. And I think sounds like you can do it. If you got from 65 to 130 the last 7 years, I'm sure you can double it again over the next five years. So
it's a dream.
What kind of future financial goals do you have for yourself?
I definitely want to get a second piece of property. With this bad boy sitting at a 3% interest rate. I want to rent it out because I'll never get a better interest rate probably in my life. I want to obviously pay off my debts, pay off my student loan debt. I don't want a higher end truck. I don't want anything like that. This bad boy has taught me a very good life lesson. I'm looking to have $2 million in my bank account or in the retirement account across the board by the time I'm 55. And yeah, a bunch of little brats to spend all my money on by then.
On the truck side, how many miles does your truck have on it right now?
117.
117? So I'm assuming you drive a lot for work then?
Yep, put 65,000 miles on it last year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
So that's definitely something you got to figure out for future financial goals is how do you sustain, how do you get out of this debt so you can then afford a vehicle and not have a $600 a month car payment? Because I don't want you to be this car to die on you in 2 years and, hey, we got to go finance a $50,000 truck or $30,000 truck when this truck's worth zero because it's not running or working anymore. So that's something you got to start thinking about as well with those current financial goals. Okay, so we're going to kind of dive through your monthly expenses then that you send over. So we have gross income, $10,400 a month, roughly. Net income that you're actually receiving from your paycheck, $6,608. Your mortgage with interest, principal, HOA fees, property taxes, insurance is $1,988, which is about 30% of your net income. Home utilities, $125. Auto and transport, we got $241 on car insurance, $620 on car payment. Does the net income, the $6,600, that includes the vehicle reimbursement, correct?
Yes.
Groceries, $320. So total necessities is about $3,300. Subscriptions, $15. Eating out, $600. Entertainment, $200. Health and fitness, $20. Personal care, $50. So your total fund money is $885. Total living expenses, $4,180. And then we've got monthly debt payments of $2,030 for the minimum. But you said you've been adding an additional $800 or so towards the credit cards. So really your total debt payments are throwing $2,800 roughly out the door or so, which really would put you about $7,000 in total living expenses across all of that. But that's good that you have margin right now that you can be throwing towards attacking these credit card debts. But it's going to probably still be a little bit of a slow process to wipe up $150,000 worth of total debts.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk about your current budgeting process then. What does your current budgeting process look like?
So I have a complete budget set up. I sat down. I have an Google Sheets set up that's got a breakdown of every monthly payment, everything that's automated, what days those bills hit, so that way I know which paycheck they're going to hit. That's where the $3,000 a month comes in. I know that if I maintain that $3,000 a month or $3,000 in my savings account or in my checking account, that's the level that I need to be at to make sure that all my bills keep getting paid. And then anything that's in my bank account over $3,000, it goes straight into the credit card. And as those keep getting ticked down, then it's just going to move. I'll take all that extra money and I'll move it on to the next bill. I'm doing, what's that called? I believe it's the snowball method.
Yep.
And just knocking down whatever's got the highest interest rate and just keep going. Cause yeah, like you said, it's a long journey. And if I don't start now, I'm going to wish I started 10 years from now, when I have more responsibilities.
Yeah. So debt payment, you said snowball method, but then you said highest interest. So you're going snowball is the lowest balance first, and then the next biggest balance, and then up, and then avalanche is the highest interest rate first.
The avalanche method, excuse me.
But you're going credit cards first, which is 0% interest right now.
Absolutely. And let's knock that out before that, whatever it is, 23% if I'm lucky, and then knock that bad boy out.
Okay, so your goal is to do credit cards first, and then you want to go the highest interest rate first, and then from there?
Correct.
And frankly, I guess in your situation with the credit cards, then the car loan, then the grad loan, and then the student loans, whether you do the debt snowball method or you do the avalanche, it looks like it's the same route because of the route of it, and the interest rates aren't drastically different, but it's smart to go after the credit cards first because if you don't finish those, it's 30% interest rate, which will kill you. So
yep.
What has your financial education been around finances over the last few years?
In all honesty, it really started off 6 months after I graduated. You get put in that nice little forbearance. You're trying to figure it out. I came out of college, making more money than my parents ever made combined. And I was like, oh, okay, this will be fine, whatever. And then once the student loans kicked in, I was paying $2,200 a month in just student loans. And it was, yeah, exactly. And it went a solid like, holy hell, what is happening? Where am I? There's no way I can do this. Like, that's an astronomical amount of money. So it was a real serious sit down, Google search, like, okay, let's figure out how to do this, how the financial system works, what, tricks and trades can I figure out to knock as much out as I can, as fast as I can.
Graduated college, making $65,000 a year, and you got a $2,200 a month student loan payment. How did you make that work? Because I can't imagine your net income was $3,000 to $4,000 a month at the time.
No, not even close. So graduated, I was living in an apartment. I quickly sublet, moved back home and with mom. I started bartending again on weekends. I was working about 110 hours a week for the first like year and a half out of college. Just busting my butt, not doing anything and just throwing money at these things. Every 6 months I was refinancing. I was putting as much money as I could in, and arguing with every debt collector and loan collector I could get. At that time, I did not have the truck. Thank goodness. I had a Pontiac Grand Am where the windows didn't roll down, and I had no power steering, and that had a solid no monthly payment on that bad boy. So that helped out a lot. But yeah, I just the problem with the grad loans, you don't get financial aid. So you don't get financial aid, you can't have anybody sign off on it. So I was sitting at a very solid 12% interest rate on that
Oh, wow.
bad boy. Yeah. So that's the one that was killing me. And then when I was able to after 6 months, I was able to refinance that one down to 9%. And then during COVID, I was able to refinance that down to 6%, and really just worked on paying that one off. And then all the other ones started slowly falling into place. Cause yeah, the other one's like what, 4.5%?
Yeah.
I'll take 4.5% over 12 any day of the week.
100%. I mean, the amortization schedule on that is drastically different. So it's awesome that you've been at least taking steps, and over the last few years, you've been hustling on nights and weekends to get income to be able to do that, and hustling and get the interest rates down while you're able to do that, because that makes a drastic difference in your payback period and how quickly we would pay these off. So
yeah, absolutely.
when it comes to budgeting, currently doing everything on an Excel spreadsheet, what makes you do that versus using like a mobile app that kind of auto categorizes transactions for you and kind of prints a little bit easier of a picture?
Honestly, it was free. That's really what it came down to. There's a lot of services you can go to that are like, oh, I'll pay it. I was like, guys, I physically don't have the money. Like, I physically don't have it. So I went. It's not the prettiest method, but it was okay. Take every single statement, put it into this sheet. This goes here. You label it how you need to. Google, YouTube, podcast, everything you can get your hands on, and figure it out yourself, because that's the only free method. And it was a very diligent, honest, humbling experience to sit and be like, this is your money. This is what you have. You don't make enough. And it's wild. Like, cause like, I'm a civil engineer. Like, I'm not doing bad. And that's what like blows my mind, where it's like at 135,000 a year, I'm struggling. Like, good Lord.
Yeah.
So
I mean, frankly, you're not alone. I mean, I think it's 49% of Americans making over $100,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. So you fit right in that,
preach.
right in that category. And it's unfortunate because I'm assuming no one told you going into college with these student loans or grad loans, hey, you're going to have $1,200 a month in payments, and that's going to destroy you. It's going to be very difficult to do. I'm assuming no one had a conversation with you when you signed the paper and say, hey, I want $100,000 or $200,000 of loans.
Exactly. And I came from two blue collar parents who were both, the whole time, God bless them, were like, just go to college and everything will be fine. And everybody said the same thing. You'll be an engineer. You'll make plenty of money. Everything will be fine. Of course you should get a master's. Why wouldn't you get a master's? It's going to be amazing. I haven't used my master's one day. All this debt out the window. Absolutely not. Don't do it. It's not even slightly worth it. And it was a huge, huge financial burden for a 20-something to just be like, well, yeah, sure, a master's sounds good. Why wouldn't I? And that decision, shaped the next 12 years of my life.
What advice would you give to an 18-year-old senior in high school or someone in college thinking about taking out student loans right now?
Go into the trades. You'll make $100,000 within 5 years. Super easy. Be smart, be diligent, know what you want. If your parents say just go to college, don't do it. I had a real big argument with, I wanted to go to a community college for the first few years. And they were like, nope, go to like full time, make sure you get the college experience, whatever. The college experience is everywhere. It's not worth it for 2 years. You can go, you can party, you can go to spring break when you're 30, you can go to Greece when you're making money. The trades make great money. You go home, do an honest living. They're very, very safe. Think about your long-term goals and what'll make you proud every single day, because you do not want to be stuck in debt years later and still be suffering for it. Like, it's actively affected my relationships. It's affected me having children. The fact that I'm 32 years old or 33 years old and can't afford children is wild. It's absolutely insane. A lot of that has to do with California. A lot of that has to do with, where we're at, but a lot of it has to do with decisions that I made 15 years ago. Like, at that point, it's do what you can, but don't rush into it. There's nothing wrong with going to school when you're 23, 4, 5, 30, whatever. Make the money where you can and be smart about it. Make sure you know where you're going, because they will take advantage of every second of you. Credit card companies will try to get you to sign up for stuff day one because they all know you're 18, you don't know what you're doing, and you're super excited about it. Everybody's going to tell you just to sign on the dotted line. It's do your own research, look stuff up, reach out to any millennial because we're all dealing with it. The housing market is wild. Get it in with your buddies. Get like 6 of your buddies together, buy a house. Everybody makes their own little money off of it. It'll be great. Be smart, because you don't want the rest of your life to be dictated about whether or not you can be drinking Coors Light or Natty Ice at the bar.
Definitely a lot of opportunity in the trades that people can make. I mean, you can go make $100,000 as a plumber, as an HVAC person, plenty of different trades. You can make a lot of money. People just don't want to do it, and they want to go to the big state schools that cost $40,000, $50,000 a year. And the beautiful thing is, at least your income and career path has you on a trajectory to make $200,000 a year. A lot of people go into student loans and they have $100,000, $200,000 student loans to go make $40,000 or $50,000 a year, which is just a completely different math equation that's just impossible to get out.
Correct. Yeah, and I did, like, theoretically, I did everything right. I did all the dream. Went to engineering, got a master's, bought a house, got the truck, thriving, doing great. Everything's looking up. And then you pull out the budget statement and you're like, that's why you don't go out on weekends. That's why you go on vacation once every 5 years. That's why you burn yourself out like that. It's like, yeah, because of these decisions and doing what I thought I was supposed to do. These supposed to's will ruin your life.
That's the American dream. Credit card debt, student loans, $35,000 truck in the driveway.
Boom.
You got the dream right now, Cody, but now we got to figure out how do we get out of the dream and be weird and not have to be like this. So
exactly.
On that, we're going to go through the fun stuff now. The credit card statements. And this is January 4th to February 3rd. So this is back. This was back in the good times.
Yep.
And during this time period, Cody, we started the statement with $10,946.62. You paid down $163. But do you know how much money you spent during this time period?
I would love for you to tell me.
$3,035.19.
That's an expensive month.
That is a very expensive month. So you ended the statement with a $13,817 balance. And if you pay the minimum payment on this of $138, you'll be 57 years old when you pay this off.
Yep.
24 years.
24 years.
So I'm hoping when we do a follow-up in a month, 2 months, then we're going to see Cody tune back this spending drastically and is not spending $3,000 a month.
No, sir.
So let's just go through some of these because we went skiing out in Colorado, it looks like.
Yep.
For hundreds of dollars. We got Whiskey Row in Denver, had some good times there. Wendy's.
Yep.
We've got Target for $100 in Chicago. So this is traveling all over the place.
Yep. That's home for Christmas. That's buying alcohol for Christmas with mom.
Okay, we got Best Buy for $100. We got eBay for $17. Walmart for $474 on January 20th. What did we buy at Walmart for $474? He can't even remember. $500 transaction at Walmart, Cody. Come on.
That might have been an Xbox.
An Xbox.
But to be fair, that's a great deal.
Cody, did you have an Xbox before?
I had an Xbox One. That was the new setup for the Xbox. That's nice.
Cody, these are decisions. When we got $158,000 in consumer debt, that knocks off $500 in the credit card balance. And then we're in Flagstaff, Arizona skiing.
Yep, yes we are.
Back to Walmart for $114. Back Southwest, I guess your flight back.
Yep.
What else we got on here? I mean, that is, okay, so you at least have no interest on here. I mean, all these transactions are, we got $10 transactions, we got $25 transactions, we got the $500 transactions, we got ski tickets for $150, ski tickets for however much, $50 more, $100. A lot of small transactions. It honestly doesn't look like a lot when you just look at the spreadsheet itself, but when you got an Xbox for $500, you got Southwest for $300, you've got just a bunch of other $100 transactions. I mean, it adds up to this $3,000 quickly. So definitely we're enjoying life in the month of January. I'd be terrified to see the prior 3 months.
That's fair.
And then we got this other credit card. Your balance was $188. You did pay down $890, but you purchased $761. So you did end the statement with $59 on the balance sheet. We've got lifts on here. We got, what is a school processing center for $114?
Donation to my nephew's school. He did like a fundraiser.
It's hard to tell a nephew no, but in times like this is times I would say this is when you got to tell a nephew no or figure out an excuse to not call him back, because putting others, trying to help other people out when you got to help yourself out first is a difficult spot to be in. So
The American way.
it is. And Lyft, why are we lifting right now? Is that while you're out partying?
Yes.
Being responsible. I'll give you that.
Irresponsible.
We got Volitude Sports for $95. What did we buy there?
Well, that's a 6 week long volleyball on the weekends.
Okay. Exercising. I won't exercise in competition being outside. I won't hit that one because it's good to do. But then we do have Xbox for $59 for a nice new video game, it looks like, on February.
No, that's the annual renewal.
Oh, so okay. Did you sell the other Xbox?
No, I donated it to my nephews.
Cody, come on.
Hey, we gotta be a giver.
That's at least a couple $100, $200 you could have gotten probably.
Yeah, probably.
Cody. Okay, so on top of that, we have your checking account. Started the balance with $2,300. You got deposited $10,393. We withdrew with a debit card just over $1,000, and electronic withdrawals $10,000. What is happening here? Okay, so we just added the debit card transactions, the two credit cards. It's over $5,000 in expenses there for this month. But then the electronic withdrawals, I'm assuming your mortgage in there. I'm assuming we got student loans.
The mortgage with student loans, that's car payment, that's
earnest money, credit card payments,
earnest and student loans.
More credit card payments. How many different credit cards do you have? Because I see the two Chase, but then I see a city payment on here. So I don't even have that transaction. Or is that
that one's paid off.
That one's paid off? Okay.
That one's paid off.
We got HSA stuff on here.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of these are payments out towards credit cards, Ubers, definitely some eating out on here. Spectrum, Zelling your mom $100. What is Vons.com?
Vons is groceries.
We got a bunch of those on here. Car insurance, that nice $241 a month car insurance. That hurts.
Yes, it does. But my truck's been broken into 3 times. Yay, Long Beach.
Oh, wow. That is not fun. So you need some good insurance out there then.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is this Robinhood debit for $2,400?
Is it going in or coming out?
It was going out on February 26th. You transferred $2,400 to Robinhood.
It should be $2,400 from Robin.
You had $5,000 in it, but it took out $2,400 and bounced them down to $2,800.
That is me selling off some long-term stocks to pay down the credit cards.
Sure why is deposited or withdrawn out from here, that transaction showing, but
yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's showing it like that. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, most of these is a lot of card payments, your student loans, definitely some Ubers, some different stuff in here for the $1,000. Can't fully understand where all of it's going, but I see your pay stubs coming in. What is this franchise tax? You got $1,200 on February 12th.
The franchise tax?
Is there a tax refund for $1,280?
Oh, that's my tax return that's the California tax return.
Okay. Okay, so you got a refund there.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the main transaction. So obviously this is a spending problem, which again, I'd love to do a catch up in a month or two and say, hey, Cody, let's see the transactions. We'll get on a call for 10, 15 minutes. Say, okay, Cody, what was the transactions for the month of March? Because you said you cut down the spending, you stopped in February. Is that correct?
Correct.
So March will be the first month where we don't have $5,000 in credit card and debit card transactions.
You'll be very proud of me in March. Yes.
Okay. We'll see that soon then.
Yes, sir.
And then on the investment side, I see this here I see your loan for the RAM on here. Balance interest rate is about 6.7. And then we got the other loans on here. So the good thing is on your student loans and your car loan, the student loans, especially 4 and 5% interest rates on those. Car loans, 6.7 is a little bit high in terms of compared to the stock market. I mean, it's just not as low as your mortgage and stuff, but I'm glad to see it's not a 16% interest rate on your $35,000 truck. So that would not be a fun sight to see. Okay. So looking at this, it looks like we like spending. So my question for you is, are you still using the credit cards right now, or have you stopped using those and cut them up?
I have not cut it up just because my truck does get broken into, and sometimes it's good to have the credit card there for that easy swipe. I have it in a safe though, so
okay. So it's not in your wallet.
It's not my wallet. I'm pure debit, which really keeps the math going. I have allowed myself. My problem is that I went very strict with the absolutely no going out, absolutely no spending extra money, absolutely no doing this, and then sitting back looking at it and being like, okay, if I do this, then when am I allowed to have fun? And it's like 5 to 7 years from now, and it's like, well, F that. So then I go on a bit of a good month, which knocks me back another year. So I've allowed myself a little bit more of a budget to be like, hey, like this is what you can spend to go out, be healthy. This is what your Uber budget is. This is what your going out on dates budget is, which is great. I've cut down all trips this year, which is miserable, but it's good for me. And yeah, I'm knocking these bad boys out.
I think that's great that you put the credit cards in a safe, because obviously you've proven that you're not a credit card person right now, because we've got $14,000 in credit card debt, and you've acknowledged that, said, hey, I'm not going to spend it. Let's put it in a safe away from the wallet so it's not easily accessible. When it comes to debt payoff, and you're saying like, hey, I can't have fun for 5 or 7 years, I think that's, in your eyes and probably in a lot of people's eyes, it's like the biggest thing from getting them to attack the debt is like, what do? I'm not going to have fun for the next 5 or 7 years because it's going to take me forever. And I think you have to find a balance from it. I do like being like very intense on, hey, pay it off as quickly as possible. But at the same time, if you have a timeline of like 12 months, I'd say, hey, lock it down and do it. But when you have a longer timeline of like 5 or 7 years, you got to figure out, okay, if I pay these credit cards off and the minimum payment was $300, okay, maybe you put 75% of that towards more debt payments and 25% of it towards having fun. Or you go get a pay raise next year and you get an extra $10,000 a year. Hey, let's put 70% of that towards paying down debt and the other towards having fun. So at least allow yourself some fun there. Because when it is such a long process like this, it does get very demotivating, because you look up, you're like, hey, I still have $110,000 worth of student loans, but at the same time, you got to look back and you're at $200,000. So you're still making great progress. Let's talk about investing then. So, what is kind of your goals and process? You said you want to hit $2 million by the time you are 55. And yes. So what is your, I guess, current ideal way to get there?
So right now the plan is to finish off this credit card. Once I do that, I'm going to bump up my 401k. I want to max out my Roth IRA contribution, and then I want to bump up the 401k contribution and kind of get that to a point where I feel comfortable. Going off of that, I'll have it set up where it increases by 1% every year when I get my raises. And just as I slowly but surely knock this truck and student loan debts out, my truck's $600 a month. So even if I take half of that, that's $300 a month going into investing. That's a huge contribution. And then with the student loans, that's another $600. So it's like, it just gets exhausting. So hopefully, my plan is that within the next 5 years to get at least the truck and half of my student loans paid off. And then at least half of that money will be going into just straight investments. Because I don't want to take 100% of that and go nuts, go crazy, go wild and enjoy myself. I want to be smart about it and make sure I don't get in this situation again. But also, if I do ever have kids, make sure that I'm at a place that they won't ever be in this situation.
So what would you say your biggest financial mistake is?
Going to college. The biggest financial mistake. I wish I would have been able to pay off more during COVID. That was a great opportunity. My biggest financial mistake is not giving myself a budget to enjoy my life, to hustle and grind and taking the bare minimum and not enjoying any of the fruits of my labor, because it does lead to massive amounts of burnout, the screw it mentality, which has been, it's exhausting. Like, I work hard, I wake up early, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning every day. So it's a solid, like, hey, like, allow yourself space to enjoy yourself and have fun, but allow myself a space to do it responsibly.
You obviously have the knowledge, you have the desire to get out of debt. It just comes down to, hey, you have a budget, just started it this month. We got to stick to it, figure out a way that it's sustainable for the long term, because we do have $158,000 of debt. I would figure out, how can you set yourself up where you can pay this off in the next 3 to 4 years, kind of set it down. What is your timeline for that? How can you do that? What amount of money do you need to make? Is it finding a job that pays you more? Is it cutting costs somewhere? But also margin where you can enjoy life a little bit and have a little bit of fun. I don't want you to sit here and never leave your house, never see friends, whatever, but you have to do it within reason. No, don't go skiing 3 times in a month in Flagstaff and in Colorado, but can you go out to dinner with a friend once a month? Can you go to the beach with them? Can you go hiking with them? Yes. And then
That's what the Xbox is for.
$500 Xbox plus the donation to the nephews of the Xbox you could have sold. And then credit card. You've already done this, but credit card spending needs to stop. Which I hope that's done and needs to stick to it. And if you put yourself on a cash basis, you won't be able to spend money on it. And then after that, it's all comes down to just following your plan and sticking to it. It's going to take you some time to do it, but with your income trajectory, it's probably going to go a lot faster than you think. If you stick to the plan and you're making $200,000 in 5 years from now, I think you'll be able to knock it out a lot faster than you think. So
absolutely. It's the plan.
If you enjoyed this episode, watch another video. YouTube thinks this video on screen will be your favorite.